Okay, guys, so this will probably be the last bit on the Arnold Classic, but before we wrap things up, we gotta talk now about the Classic Physique division. I definitely didn't forget about them, but wanted to cover the open stuff first and get that out of the way. So what we're gonna do is check out the prejudging, and then we'll evaluate the confirmation round from the finals. So we got a little back-to-back thing going on here. Usually I'd separate it out into two different vids, but meh, we're just gonna go ahead and combine them this time. So right here, we've got a top 6 callout featuring from left to right, Fabain Myar. Oh god, I probably butchered that. He's from Austria. Courage Opara, Alex Cambronero, Terrence Ruffin, Logan Franklin, and Bryan Jones. I'll put their placings up here too so you can see who finished where. But anyway, for the sake of brevity, we're mostly going to focus on the guys in the middle, or the top 3 to 4, unless one of these two on the outsides really catches my eye. In the front double biceps, I like Alex, third from the left. I feel he has the best combination of mass, conditioning, proportion, and symmetry. Logan Franklin, second from the right, has the most ripped upper body, showing some great definition through the torso and excellent arm separation, but he needs to bring up those legs a little. Terrence doesn't really wow me in this shot. He lacks bicep size compared to the others and doesn't seem that sharp from the front. Just contrast him with Logan to his right and you'll see what I mean. Don't get me wrong, Ruffin still looks good on his own, but he's a bit underwhelming in this pose. I'd actually have Bryan Jones over there on the right in the third because he's got such a massive frame and still looks symmetrical. Very impressive upper body. He just needs a bit more conditioning, particularly through the legs, and he could be outright winning it. Moving on to the side chest, Courage Opara is drawing my attention the most here. All his muscles look neatly separated and polished, and he's very balanced in this shot, no major flaws or weak points. Again, with Terrence, I don't know if it was the lighting that's hurting him with that darker skin tone, but he's looking kinda washed out. His separation isn't nearly as good as Opara's, and he appears kinda small and compact. Never been a big fan of his side chest, there's just no real standout features. And don't worry guys, this isn't meant to rain on his parade. I actually really like Terrence as a bodybuilder, and as a human being. He seems like a really positive, level-headed dude, and I totally understand why he won, and agree with the decision, but I don't think he takes either of these first two poses, that's all I'm saying. As for the others, again I like Jones. He's got so much size and thickness and a really powerful upper body. The legs also look more defined here from the side than they did from the front. Logan, on the other hand, appears too thin. He's lacking density. He looks very flat through the arms and legs and needs to bring up those hamstrings. Cambronero's okay, but not spectacular in this one. But when Logan turns and hits it in the old school Arnold-esque fashion, now I think he moves up a spot or two. This variation's much better suited for him because turning more to the front, he displays nice detail through the obliques, the chest looks broader and more prominent, and it helps mask the weak hamstrings. I'd still have Courage or maybe Jones in first, but after those two, it's Logan. Turning to the rear, this is where Terrence starts to turn things around, no pun intended. His back is the most detailed, and same goes for his glutes and hams. Well, actually, Logan Franklin has the most shredded hamstrings, but overall, Terrence has the better lower body. The arms also showcase better separation here than they did from the front, so yeah, I think he takes this one. After that, it's gotta be Alex. His back is nearly as ripped, and it's also bigger and wider. Terrence is still beating him soundly through the legs, though. Franklin is probably third because he's extremely dry and defined. He's just lacking that more mature density of the top two. He needs to add more width and thickness to the lats and bring up that lower back, then he would be a real threat. Okay, and that little stutter there was actually just the live stream connection messing up, but no worries, we still get to catch the ab and thigh, which is a pretty tight race. Unlike the open class, all of these guys have streamlined, well-defined midsections, so that's always refreshing to see. And I'm leaning towards Ruffin here. He's got very nicely formed, symmetrical abs and a great X-frame. Cambronero's looking really good also, and is probably out-conditioning Terrence through the quads right now, but I'd say Terrence has a better flow. Logan's got the most chiseled midsection, but again, the thighs are kinda weak. So in third, I'd go with Courage Opara, who, like Alex, looks very balanced in this. It's a nice vacuum by the guy on the left, and Franklin busts one out as well, but I don't think it's enough for them to overtake my top 3 picks. When Alex hits this side variation, however, I feel he outdoes Terrence now because his midsection is way sharper. But overall, it's close, and I'm going to sort of give Ruffin the benefit of the doubt because I think he edged it out from the front. Lastly, in the classic pose of their choice, I tell you what, I'm a sucker for that twisting back double bi. Even though Logan's back isn't the best, it looks fantastic here. Terrence, sorry, but I don't think he's got the biceps to do this one justice. Even Buddy in 6th place over there pulls it off better. I also prefer Cambronero's archer pose, or whatever you want to call it. Looks more dynamic and engaging. Courage has a nice classic most muscular, and Bryan Jones is doing the Arnold side chest. But yeah, overall, it's the 3/4 back shot for me, all the way. Okay, so on to the finals, where thankfully they narrowed it down to the top 4, so this will make things a little easier. And I've already given you my initial impressions, so unless something changes, we're gonna just sort of skim through this now. Yeah, the front double is still Cambronero, followed by Franklin. Ruffin is 3rd at best because even Courage is showing more impressive biceps development, though I'm really not crazy about that V-shaped vacuum. Guys with rib cages like that probably shouldn't opt for hitting vacuums, just doesn't look as aesthetic, but maybe that's just me. Anyways, in the side chest, Terrence seems to be getting some more favorable lighting for once, so he looks better than I was giving him credit for. Still not crazy about him in this shot though, and would have to put him last here since he's giving up too much size and thickness, and doesn't have enough separation to make up the difference. This has got to be Courage or Alex, and Logan looks great too, but his lower half lets him down, so he drops to 3rd. The back double still belongs to Terrence. He even looks bigger than Alex right now, so I don't know if he carved up and Alex flattened out or what happened there, but he's taking it easily. Logan Franklin might even arguably be overtaking Cambronero right now. You gotta love that hamstring definition on the kid. Abs and thighs still goes to Ruffin for sensational flow and symmetry. He's got some good lat flair too. Logan's vacuum is solid, but not great compared to the likes of someone like Sebum. The quads need to come up and the lats to a lesser degree as well. Alex is 2nd, then take your pick for 3rd. Nobody's a loser here though, they all look terrific. And yes, once again, it's Logan for me in the classic pose. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Even though Terrence came up short in a couple poses, I think when you factor in the posing routines, where he obviously excels, plus his sheer completeness and dominance from the rear, he did deserve the win. Although if this was another division like 212 that was judged by more conventional standards, I would have given it to Alex because he was probably more well-rounded across all the main poses. Logan Franklin really solidified himself here as a top contender and a name to watch in the years to come. If he can make improvements to his legs and bring up that back like Bumstead did, look out. He's definitely a formidable poser as well and captures the essence of Arnold, perhaps better than any other competitor yet. So that's my take on the classic division. How do you guys see it though? Do you think I was being too hard on Terrence, or would you tend to agree with these assessments? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth bodybuilding commentary like this. Until next time, it's the Tominator signing off, and I'll be back.